You're now tuned in to the Desire to Trade podcast, a show where we bring you the best figures of the trading world and teach you how you can become a successful trader. This is your host, Etienne Crete.
Hey, what's up, trader? It's Etienne, founder of Desire to Trade, and welcome to episode 55 of the Desire to Trade podcast. If you haven't listened to the episode last week, episode 54 was with Chris Capri, and this episode was really powerful. So if you haven't listened to it yet, I recommend strongly you check it out. Now this week for the episode, I'm interviewing Marina Kuperman Villatoro. She's trading futures full-time, and what I love about her is that she worked a lot to become the best version of herself. She spent a lot of time reading, a lot of time working on herself, and she's been through 2 books that we talk on the podcast. Psycho-Cybernetics, which is awesome, and The One Thing. So 2 books, you could check it out afterward. But you will really see in this episode that self-improvement is a big part of trading. It's crucial. Quick announcement, make sure to check out the Facebook group, desiretotrade.com/group, and you can join the Facebook group for free. I will go on with the interview, and I'll come back at the end with the takeaways. All right, Marina Kuperman Villatoro, welcome on the Desire to Trade podcast. How are you doing today?
Great. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. So we always start with the same question, which is, what is one quote that inspires you?
Oh my God, there are so many quotes. I guess simply to just get over your stories and just do it. The stories aren't real.
Love it. It's pretty simple. So tell us what you're doing these days exactly.
Well, I've been doing trading, and I've also started teaching women how to trade. Very simply, my whole idea of trading is simplicity. I don't use a lot of indicators. I also don't go for the huge profits because you could do really well with the smaller profits and less risk and less stress. So that's how I've been trading, very conservatively. I call the new radical in trading is conservatism. I believe that's, it's a really powerful way to look at it. You don't have to go for the huge wins because when you do that, you also have to put a lot of risk on the line. And sometimes it's simply not worth it.
Mm-hmm. It's really interesting because I don't think there's many people teaching women how to trade, right?
No, there's women who are trading, but no one that caters to them because we do look at things a little bit differently. The fact that I really, really promote conservatism and smaller profits helps build the confidence first. Sure, go for the larger profits, but first build up your confidence. If you're going to start to dive, you're not going to go on a 30-foot dive first, right? You're going to start with the 5-footer, the 6-footer, and move your way up. It's the same thing with trading. Start with the small profits, build up your confidence, know that you have a good, solid plan, and then you could build on. And I truly believe that, and that's what I focus on most.
It's powerful. Yeah, you mentioned the plan, and we'll get back to this, but I want you to tell us how you started to trade exactly. How did that happen?
Oh, it's been a progression of many years. It's just something that I've wanted to do since probably in my 20s, so over 2 decades. And I've always dabbled into it. I dabbled into a little bit of day trading, more of the longer term investing, but I've always been interested in the financial markets. And finally, around 5 years ago, I just went full on. I went full on in the sense that I said, okay, this is it. I bought a course. I joined an academy. But to fully understand trading, you really need to commit. It's not just something you say, oh, I'm going to do it, and then you kind of do it. No, you either commit to the training process to really understand the system. And that actually took me a couple of years more to fully get with it when I went through many losses. And then around 3.5 years ago, this is when I really, really committed. And that's when I signed up with mentorship programs and I fully committed to the process of it. And that in itself is more mental than anything else. Yeah, obviously I learned my strategy, I learned my plan, but it was the mental development, and I'm still developing, obviously, the personal growth. But when you realize that it has nothing to do with the markets, that it has nothing to do with the trading process, it's all about you and you still want to do it, that's when you really enter the world of trading. And that's when it becomes really magical.
Mm-hmm. I want to get back on this. What would it mean for someone to be not committed versus committed? What does it look like exactly?
Okay, for instance, I had a plan, right? With the academy that I work with, they gave me a really good plan, a good foundation, but I didn't really pay attention to it. I used to go into the markets doing my own thing. When I had that plan, it's as if though I was rebelling within my own self to prove myself that that was wrong. And the biggest non-commitment is, even though the academy that I went to taught me risk management, is number one, I was going in with no risk. I was saying, oh no, but look here, I could do it. And when you don't have any risk management, you lose it all. You can literally lose it all. So I wasn't committed to my plan. I was saying that I had a plan. I was pretending that I was following my plan, but I was not committed to my plan. I did not go where the entries were supposed to be. I had no risk, which was just totally ridiculous. And I'm sure that every single day trader has gone through this, but eventually you either decide, okay, this is definitely for me, and you get your risk management in order, you get your plan, and you stick to it. You are consistent to your plan, even if you're going to have some losing days. But if you know that your plan brings you 70% or more wins, you stick to it, right? You don't quit after one loss or two losses, and you definitely don't ever go into a trade without risk. Whatever your risk management is, you have to develop that as well. So that's where the commitment really comes in. You decide, first of all, that you're going to continue with it, and you're going to understand how powerful it is to have your plan and be committed to your plan and consistent with it.
I really love the aspect of sticking to something, because it's something I didn't do at all for the first 2 years probably, and then I started to stick more to a strategy and a plan, and it really made a big difference. So I'm glad you mentioned it.
Oh, it makes all the difference, actually.
Yeah, all the difference. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Otherwise, you totally lose. You just go in blindly. It's like taking an arrow, for archery and just shooting. Well, what are you shooting at? You don't know. Maybe you'll hit a bullseye. But when you have a plan, when you stand on that line, you focus your arrow into the bullseye, yeah, sure, you'll miss a few. But if you consistently, refocus it, continuing with that plan, you will hit, and you will continue hitting more and more and more. And that's the plan, the strategy of day trading as well.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is, it's much easier to, after a bad day, it's much easier to search online and find a new strategy than to just stick to the same thing, right?
Oh, it's so easy. It's so easy to get detoured. But you have to backtest. I always say backtesting is a day trader's best friend. If you find something that is working, you need to backtest it. You don't have to do this live. You could do this offline. You could go and backtest it like 30, 45 days back to see if that particular trade brings you 70% or more profit than losses, right? That's backtesting. And when you find that, you want to stick to it. But again, there's nothing that's 100% in anything in life, and in day trading especially. But if you find something that's 70% or more that wins, that's when you stick to it. And unfortunately, when you have those losses, and sometimes you could have losses 2-3 days in a row, you really start to doubt yourself. You really start to doubt your strategy. You really start to doubt all this that you've been putting into it. But you can't. What you can do is you could slow down and backtest a little bit more and see if it works again. And then, and this is how the progression works. And yeah, sticking to it.
Yeah, I love it. So tell us about one of your worst trading mistake.
Oh, going in without any risk, and then getting into a trending market that is going down and thinking it's going to go trending market that is going up, and I'm thinking that it's going to go down because I'm already accruing losses. And all I kept on doing is, because at this point you just go into panic mode, revenge trade. I mean, you go into the worst case scenario, and all I was doing is putting more in, thinking it's going to go down because I'm already looking at substantial losses, to the point that I literally lost my entire account.
Oh, you're okay.
Within a couple of hours.
Only one trade or more than one trade?
Well, with futures, It's different because you could go in with different contracts. So each contract is considered a new trade. So I was just putting in more contracts, but thinking it was going down. I was so blinded. I was just freaking out at this point because I knew I was going the wrong way. And it was terrible. No risk. And I took all my risk off because I'm like, it's going to turn, it's going to turn, it's going to turn. And of course it didn't. It was a stupid move. There was no strategy behind it, even though I had a strategy. I just say that something else took over. It was more of a test of my will to see, it totally broke me. The fact that it broke my account and it broke my spirit, my whole confidence. This is kind of put me in a crossroads. All right, Marina, what are you going to do? Are you going to continue trading? Because if you are, you really need to get your shit together or stop right now. And that's when I really had to sit down and be like, you know what? This is what I really want. And this is when I really need to understand the process and understand that I just did this to myself. The market was telling me what I should be doing, and I was doing the opposite. I was just hurting myself. And that's when I really sat down. I took a break maybe for like a week to regroup. And I just went back to my schooling. I signed up with a private mentor and then that's when I really started to build myself up and personal development. That's when it really hit me that it was all about my own demons. And that's when I went into the personal development world. And it's been amazing since then.
So we'll talk about that, the exact step you took from the point that was kind of your lowest point. How did you go from there to becoming like a full-time trader then?
It was a slow process.
So what kind of self-improvement are we talking about here? So people can really get some actionable thing.
It's mental. It's so mental. First of all, I woke up because a lot of times people don't even think they want to change or that they need to change. It's so difficult to pinpoint that particular thing. I just started to read books. I started to read self-development books. Psycho-cybernetics has been a huge development, huge player for me. Then there's so many books. The Big Leap, the Loving What Is. I can't even tell you the One Thing, Switch. There's a million books since then, and all those books accumulating and understanding, opening my mind, seeing myself. Women also have a lot of money blocks. We don't believe we deserve it. We're not worth it. It's all intellectually we understand that we are, but subconsciously no, we need to break through those. So I started taking courses on personal development, on breaking through my money blocks, on clarity, transformation. So it's been an accumulation. At this point, it's been 3 years of a lot of personal development work that has gotten me through many obstacles. I'm not the same person I was 3 years ago, and I always am so grateful because day trading did it for me. Honestly, nothing has been more confronting and challenging in my life than day trading, and it does that still every day. So the transformation that I've gone through is strictly due to day trading. Even if I don't trade ever again, the transformation it did for me has been phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's a fact. Day trading or just trading in general is like really helping for self-improvement. Like whatever you do, you're going to get through to that phase for sure.
Yeah.
And that's really powerful. But if you had to summarize this to like a few concepts, what are the lessons you got from those books? What are the things you learned?
Like I said, the number one thing with my quote is stories. 99% of the shit that is in our heads are stories that we tell ourselves that are totally untrue. Untrue. They just stop you in every possible way. Yeah, I have to say that's probably been one of my biggest things because that hits me on every level. Commitment. Excuse me. Committing. We throw that word around so much. Oh, I'm committed to you, or I'm committed to doing this, but you don't really commit to it, right? You don't really follow through, and you know that. So when you finally say, okay, I am so committed to this, that everything I do is about completing this, not even completing, but putting 100% of myself into, that's real commitment. Consistency. That is something I have been so inconsistent in everything in my life that trading makes you become consistent. And I'm noticing that with the consistency I'm putting into my trading, it's also now helping me be consistent with my family, with my children, with my daily routine, because I'm consistent. Yeah, it's boring. Consistency is boring, but the results are incredible. Um, so that too. And also another thing that I realized with trading is precision. With day trading, you have to be so insanely precise. You can't just be, oh, it's a roundabout area. No, it's super precise. It's kind of like a doctor. When they go to an operating room, they're not going to operate on around the heart, right? They're going for an aorta or something super precise, and they have the precise tools for it. So that also really helped me with a lot of things, because before I was kind of like, oh yeah, exaggerating on everything, but now I'm so much more precise in things in my life. And this just helps you in everything you do, and especially with day trading. Oh my God, precision, consistency, and not, being caught up in your stories, these lies that you tell yourself, whatever they could be at the moment. There's so many, right? But just waking up and saying to yourself, wait, this isn't true. This isn't real. This is reality. How do I know it's true?
That's really powerful. And I talk with a lot of traders, and one thing I realize is that, and you probably will think this too, and you probably saw that as well, is that when people have their life not together, or things are not going fine in their life, usually the trading is pretty much the same. It's not doing that great. So it's really about working on yourself, and it's also about fixing what you have in your life on the side too.
Absolutely. What I always say is, what you do in one thing, you do in all things.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. That's great.
Yeah. And what I really liked about psycho-cybernetics is the whole thing he talks about with clearing your mind. Because if you're going to be, for instance, if you have an argument with your child or with your spouse or partner, and then you sit down and trade, you're still in that argument, right? You're still bringing that emotional energy into your trading, and that's deadly. That's deadly. That is just a recipe for disaster. So to clear your mind, to get away, sit down, and fully clear your mind of what just happened there, because it has nothing to do with your trading, that could be a life changer, right? That could totally change the game for you as well with your trading, when you don't bring other emotional baggage into your trading. Trading alone could give you enough emotional, roller coaster. You don't need to bring an emotionally charged mind into it already. And that has helped me a lot too, to sit down and really clear my mind before I sit at my trading station.
Yeah, this is really important, because it's something that I see people make often. They come back from work, or they come back from something, and then they jump in trading right away. But they don't have the time to kind of clear everything out and really focus on trading. So how exactly do you clear your mind and focus on trading?
Meditation is huge. Meditation is huge. Sometimes I think in trading, a really big problem is it's FOMO, the fear of missing out. You fear if you're not at your trading desk, you're going to miss out on that one trade, right? And sometimes your meditation could take a little bit longer, because you have a lot of crap that happened in the day, or a lot of stuff that's going on. And that battle, oh my God, why am I sitting here meditating when I should be sitting at my trading station? I'm going to be missing out. But you got to get past that. And you got to always remember, with trading, especially in day trading, there is always another amazing trade coming. Always. It might not happen within the next 10 minutes or even 2 hours, but it's going to happen. So for me, that was a battle in the beginning, but I now sit and I meditate. I really work hard on clearing my mind and clearing out that energy, the emotional energy from whatever happened before or whatever I'm carrying. And if I cannot, I've learned also to not trade. Either not trade live if I want to really sit there, but at least to trade maybe in my simulation mode, or just not trade that day, because I will end up losing. So the clearing of your mind is a powerful thing. Meditation, actually visualizing that you take, an eraser and just erase whatever is going on, whatever it is that you're going to find that works for you, right? Everybody's different, but you need to find something that is going to clear your mind. it's going to have to happen.
Powerful. And the thing I think you do with trading, and that's really interesting, because you see a lot of people trying to trade and trade all the time, and they want to be there all the time. But you're really trading not for money, but for your lifestyle, right?
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
tell us about a little bit why you're trading and what you do with trading, basically, in your lifestyle.
Well, I love the fact that I have a chance to only trade several hours per day. I live in Guatemala, so for me right now, the market opens at 7:30, so I could be done by like 10 a.m. my time. So I have the entire day free. My children's school, which we chose on purpose, is a very community focused school. So there are a ton of parent activities with the school. I get to go to all of them. It's amazing. With my parents growing up, my parents worked from 7 till 7. They never participated. They weren't able to. They wanted to, but they weren't able to. I do. I could participate in all of them. My kids right now have off from school. They go to camp, but sometimes they need to go to this activity or that. I could do that. I also run a travel blog, a travel website. And because of that, I travel a lot and I write for that site, and I could trade while I'm traveling. Or if I decide not to trade, I don't have to trade. There's no one to answer to. So the freedom that it gives you is incredible. It's incredible. And now my goal is to share this with women, teaching women, because I don't believe that there is enough resources for women. And it's a really scary industry for women because they feel that it's, too aggressive, too much risk. And it doesn't have to be like that. It can actually be fun.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of women, this is interesting because one of the guests on the podcast really early on, I think episode 3 or something, was talking about really the fact that women kind of have some more capacities to trade. They're sometimes a better trader because they take less risk, they go less all in, and they're more conservative, as you said. Is this something you noticed?
For me, yeah. So what I've noticed, the academy I went to was fantastic. But again, it was all run by men. And the majority of the people that I'm seeing now, I'm still in a lot of their groups, is they go for the really huge profits. And they put a lot of risk on the table. So yeah, and then they just take more riskier, more aggressive moves. And I've tried that. And in the academy, maybe 1% was women. And I have to say that they've all dropped out, or at least the majority of them, because we want to follow in the footsteps of what we're seeing. And that's a lot of aggressive moves. And they don't have to be like that. And when I had that click happen, it was like an awakening for me. Wait, I don't have to do this. I could go for the smaller profits because the smaller profits will bring me more profits yearly. I won't be losing as much because I'm not going in with the same risk as you have to when you're going for the bigger moves. And that's a big game changer. And I think a lot of men just have a more aggressive nature and they think they need to go for the more profits, right? Women, we could accept that. Oh, wait, I don't have to go for those huge ones. I don't need to make, 5 figures a day. I'm okay with 3 to 4 figures per day. And that's a big deal. In the long run, it's a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because so you don't necessarily go for the big trends or big moves. It's only a small move that add up every single day, and that's pretty powerful as well.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Tell us a little bit about your trading style, exactly.
Well, I'm a scalper, obviously. I have like 4 or 5 trades that I really, really love. And a lot of them is watching the shifts in momentum. I use the 52-week period EMA line and the MACDs. I use them together. The MACDs are amazing for me. They show you where the strength is, where the weakness is, and divergence. I love divergence. I know a lot of times there's a potential in divergence and it doesn't stick, but the majority of times divergence certainly shows you where you can get stopped out. Because I go for such small profits, my risk is really small, so divergence really could help me not get stopped out. So I really look at divergence. It's a big thing for me. Reversal patterns, like double tops, triple tops, head and shoulders. I really focus on those a lot. Support and resistance areas. I don't enjoy channels. I stay away from those until I have a lot of confirmation in their breaks. I know a lot of traders enjoy going into them because they feel that it's going to consistently hit those areas. But I find that too risky, and I'd rather see the break of that happening. So that's basically, it's a pretty simple system if you think about it. I don't use a lot of indicators. Actually, the only two indicators I use is the EMA line and my MACDs, and that's it.
Yeah, so yes, it's really simplistic. I love it. I think that's what you need because so many people confuse, like put too many things on their chart and like get confused in the end. So yeah.
Yeah, way too many things. I mean, they're just scary. I don't enjoy it at all.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest problems for people who want to day trade is they don't have the time to do it. Or maybe they don't have the focus to do it. So they're not able to watch the chart for a long time. How did you overcome those two things?
It took a while. The scary thing with trading is that there is no barrier to entry. Anybody could enter. You know, like if you're a doctor, you have to go through schooling. You know, you're not going to get into that operating room and take out a scalpel. But people don't understand that trading is a performance activity. You know, Tiger Woods did not become Tiger Woods just like that. He's been training since 3 years old. Obviously, that's like the biggest example you could give. You don't need to train that much, but you need to train. You need to practice. You need to learn your market. You need to see what it does. You know, anybody could just go in and put money on the table, but not everybody is going to consistently win. So when you understand, the thing is a lot of academies also bullshit you saying, oh, you're going to be live in 3 months making 6 figures. That is such a lie. You know, you need to put in 6 to 8 months of screen time. And to really learn, you need to, first of all, go with an academy. You need to learn a system. The freebies, they just don't work. They just don't work. You know, a doctor will not just learn online how to cut into a patient, right? You have to understand that and accept it. And it's actually a great thing. And then you need to practice. You need to practice. You know, Michael Phelps did many, 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 many laps before he won his gold medal. It's the same thing with trading. You have to put in the hours of screen time, of understanding before you're going to start doing it consistently and become profitable. And I think a lot of people don't want to hear that. They don't want to believe that. And that's the truth. So if you want to make this your life, your profession, your lifestyle, be ready to put in the time. Be ready to invest in yourself. You know, it will bring you nothing but positive things.
But the idea of having to kind of learn for a few months and like doing that every single day is scary, right? Because you don't want to just like you want to have profits right now, of course. So yeah, people are scared, of course, for that. But it's true. Yeah, it's definitely true. You have to learn and you have to put in the time.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it for everything, actually. Anything, and especially something that could bring you the amount of money that trading can. It's not, it's not a magical thing, you got to do it.
And you mentioned the book, The One Thing, earlier, which is a book I love. And it's really about making trading your one thing. It's really about putting that your priority, like your number one thing.
And then even more focusing in, like that was one thing, that book really woke me up to, the one trade. A lot of people have thousands of trades. I remember when I first started, oh my God, I was like in and out of trades every second. It was ridiculous. But the one thing the book taught me was I could have the one trade. So I have 4 trades now, but if I really break it down, it's actually one real decisive move in just a few different ways. But it's pretty much one. It's usually the shift of momentum. And that is my one thing. 80% of my winning trades come from 20% of all of my trades.
Yeah, exactly. Totally. Yeah, that's powerful as well. Yeah. So when people have trouble focusing on a chart, what would you recommend them to do?
First of all, you have to get through your head that this is it's an activity. So your mind is working like a muscle. You cannot run for 2-3 hours straight. You need breaks. The same thing with the mind. I recommend with trading, if you really want to full on, do 30 minutes at a time and then take a 30-minute break or an hour break and then come back until you are able to next time maybe go 40 minutes, maybe 45 minutes until you are able to really have that endurance of sitting there of really focusing. And that's the most important thing. People think that they could just sit and do it for hours. You can't. You need to start slow, a little bit more every day.
Mm-hmm. People often see trading as being the big thing they have to do, but I want to talk about what is your kind of process or things to do before and after trading. What are the habits you do every single day or every single week that are outside of trading?
That help my trading, right? Before I sit down trading. So I have a routine in the morning. Actually, I could read it for you. It's right here. I always check the news to see, because with futures trading, because I trade only the ES Mini, you don't need to do any research. However, you need to know when the news comes out, and you really look for the big news, like housing prices, unemployment rates. There's many different things that you look for. So I always check to see if there's any news, and I make sure that I'm nowhere near my charts during news, because the news could really stop you out and you could lose a lot. Then I go and I do my prep time. I open up my charts. I look for the areas. I look to set it up to see what's happening. Where's the trend? Where's the momentum? Stuff like that. I look at very small time frames and then a little bit larger to see what has been happening in the past few days. And then I ask myself, how am I feeling? Do I have any emotional crap going on? Am I ready? Am I pumped? Am I tired? Am I bored? Things like that. And then I leave completely my trading desk, and then I go and I clear my mind and I meditate. Like, I really want to, and then I can visualize as well. I do some visualizations of what I want to see in the market. That doesn't really help as much because you never know what the market is going to do, but you always want to focus on the good. So visualizing myself feeling good, being in the zone. And then I come back, and then I set a 5-minute timer when I'm fully back with my mind clear. I set a 5-minute timer. Even if I see some awesome trades coming, I really want to get in with the charts. And again, there's always another trade coming. So if I miss that one in that 5 minutes, I'm okay.
So what do you do for the 5 minutes? You look at the chart and just try to analyze, or?
Charts. Again, I go through my areas. I see what's going on. And then after the 5-minute mark, that's when I know that I'm ready to go.
Interesting. And any activities you do after trading, possibly?
Yeah, I usually review my trades. I do write in my journal. I keep track of all the trades I take. So, and if I'm starting to backtest a new one, I'll never do it live. So I start to mark it, to see if it how it's been working, and I keep track of that one as well. And then a lot of times I go and backtest more. I go into a replay and see about some of the trades I'm testing out, of the same trades that I'm working with, to see how they've been going on.
It's pretty solid. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Pretty good. No, but oftentimes those routines after and before trading are really the things that support your trading and help you out in the long run. So
many times have I sat and just gone in to realize, wait, there's a area here. Wait, there's divergence here. Like, you just go in blindly, and of course I lose. And then when you make one loss because you messed up, not because it was a good solid trade and just went bad, because that happened, but because I didn't do my due diligence, then you get all pissed off at yourself and you're already in a bad place. So then you start to revenge trade, and revenge trading is always going to lead you to nowhere, or chasing trades. So yeah, you really need to get into that zone. You really need to be prepared.
any other advice you would have for the listeners? Things that they should do or that they should not do?
I really, really recommend studying with a school and being in sim mode for a couple of months to really get the hang of it, to understand the entries. And you need to clear your mind. If you're in a bad place, you're, with yourself, it's not going to happen. And you need to prepare yourself. Prepare yourself. Like I said, don't sit and start going and start shooting. Wait a little bit. I also always compare a good trader to a hunter. I don't condone hunting, but hunters, they sit and they will wait for that big game or the good game, whatever it is. It's the same with traders. Don't go for the little insects. Wait for the good game, the good trade that is, 70, 80, 90% chance that it will win. wait for it. It will happen. And that's the one that's going to give you that confidence and make you feel stronger for the next trade and the next trade. It's a compounding thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's all about probability. That's true.
Yeah, it is so much about probability. Trading is so probability. Yeah, but it's not a gamble. When you find those setups that are 70, 80, 90%, it's great,
Yeah, I love it. And I think regarding this cool thing, I think people should definitely find a place they have to, like, they of course they have to learn at some place. But there's so many like multi-level marketing stuff or scams out there. So I think it's really about taking something that works for you, that fits your idea of trading, right? Not every coach will be good for you. Not every school will be good for you, but you have to pick the one that kind of resonates with you.
It's just hard to know right away by looking. So that, because a lot of times the scammers are really good salespeople, so you just need to follow that person or the academy, because the good ones, they should have track records as in what they're doing with their videos, who they're connected with, the partners, what their sites say, if they're educational, what they offer for free first. I think it's really important. A lot of places offer a lot of really good free stuff for you to understand. But to get to the real stuff, obviously, you will need to join an academy.
So how can people find you?
TheTraderChick.com is probably my best bet. And from there, you could get my free guide of the 7 misconceptions of day trading. I think a lot of people come into day trading with these myths and misconceptions that could really stunt and limit your trading. And then you can find me on Facebook through The Trader Chick is your best bet.
Awesome. And so what kind of goal do you have for the future?
I really want to get my academy for the women. I want to teach women. I want to expose this industry more to women, because I think it's a beautiful industry. It's a beautiful thing to do. First of all, you work for yourself. The transformation you go through is just going to make you a better person. And the fact that once you do have your plan, 2-3 hours a day is plenty. You could either supplement your income, or this could be your full income, and you'll have plenty of time with your family, your travels, whatever. So that's a really big goal for me, to be consistent with my trading and to start to get it more out there for women.
And what is your main motivation?
Because women just don't do it, and we need to do it, because we're the ones that want to take the time off to be with the families. And a lot of women I know who do take time off, they want to still work, but a lot of times they can't do full, part-time work. But this allows you to be at home with your kids, or if you want to go traveling with your family, this gives you total freedom. And a lot of women don't know that, because there's so many stigmas around this industry that it's super aggressive and you have to know all this. You have to be a math whiz. You don't need any of that. You don't need any of that at all, and it's not complicated. It could be quite simple. It's not easy, but it's certainly simple. So that's my motivation. The fact that I see so many women that are constantly looking for how they could work from home, have more free time, and they never consider day trading as an option simply because they don't know about it. They don't know that it is doable. And that's my motivation.
That's great. So I just want to remind the listeners that all the show notes are going to be on desiretotrade.com. So if people want to find the links we talked about, if they want to find you, especially women, it's going to be on desiretotrade.com, so they can find everything there, including the book we talked about, because there's a couple of good books. And so, Marina, I have one last question for you, which is, if you could give only one piece of advice for traders, what would that one sentence of advice be?
Patience.
Patience. Okay. Patience. Explain a little bit more.
Like what I was saying, you want to jump in, you want to start making the millions tomorrow. You need to be patient. If you really want to do this, it will happen, but it takes time. And that's it. And commitment. Like I said, you have to have the patience to know that it will happen, but you need to commit to the process and enjoy the process, because it can become really enjoyable, almost spiritual. So that's it.
Sounds good.
Patience, commitment, enjoying the process.
I love it. Marina Kuperman Villatoro, thanks a lot for being on the podcast. It's been a pleasure to have you here. And I'm sure people will love it. So for all listeners, I'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you so much.
All right. So I hope you liked the interview with Marina Kuperman Villatoro. And I think there's a lot of things you should listen back to in this interview, especially how to change your mental state to get ready to trade. And a big part of it is going to be to stop making excuses. Like she said, we're often making stories and it's so easy to get caught up in them and to not do anything to improve ourselves. So I recommend you pick something from the podcast today and you start implementing it this week. Then see how it goes. And if it goes well, then let me know. Check out the Facebook group at desirettotrade.com/group and check out Marina's private Facebook group as well. The link to that will be in the show notes. And on that note, I'll see you in the next episode of the Desire to Trade podcast. Ciao.
Thanks for listening to the Desire to Trade podcast. To get all the information on this show, free articles, and unique resources, make sure to check out www.desirettotrade.com and subscribe. Please leave us a review and let us know what you thought about the show. It's time to become the best trader you can be. See you next time.